TSMC winning in AI, Sasol, Grinrod, Trump meme coins, oil a concern, gold looking good, 300 days of no load shedding. This is JSE Direct episode 615 for 22 January, recorded afternoon of Tuesday. My name is Simon Brown. This podcast is brought to you by justonelap.com. So some changes to JSE Direct. The first is you will notice it's a day earlier. We will now do a Wednesday release every week, all things being equal. Budget, for example, we will do a recording on the evening, so it'll come out Thursday. But largely, we will now be a Wednesday release. And let's kick off with some of my, I suppose, concerns in a sense that we are seeing. And the key one perhaps is absolutely Brent. But let's start with gold, because gold is on my screen. Gold continues to look good. And I've been saying this all of last year. I like gold. If you listen to our predictions show with Keith McLachlan, Mark Ashton, and myself last week, I still think gold has got upside. $3,000 is easy. We're seeing a bit of consolidation, which has gone on from around about mid-September. But I'm still liking gold. But here, what is worrying me is the Brent chart. And the Brent chart is looking quite bleak, to be perfectly honest. This is a weekly chart. And you can see, so we've got a red candle here. And in fact, at this point in time, that red candle does look like a engulfing candle. So maybe for now, Brent has kind of peaked at around the 82. But if we continue higher, and this higher ultimately is a high 80s, that's bad. It's bad for us as South Africans, petrol. It's bad for the global economy. I suspect a lot of what's happening here is around just production more than demand. We know that Trump is a drill baby, drill individual. But the short answer is that you don't open up a large swath of government land and say, cool, go drill there, and you get oil in a week. It takes time. And the oil majors are going to look at this and say, well, hang on a second. Trump wants oil prices down because he wants lower gas prices at the fuel pump. Fair enough. They don't. They like a higher price, right? Of course, because that for them is just simply, it's more about money. It's better money for them. It's more dollars per barrel. Let's quickly touch on Trump. He got inaugurated yesterday, Monday. He signed a raft of executive orders, none of them around tariffs. And maybe that's the important point. He did, however, there was press when he was doing the signing. Someone asked about Mexico and Canada. He said, yeah, 20% probably by the beginning of next month, which I assume to be February, which I assume to be some 10 days away. We'll see how that rolls out in time. He accused Spain of being part of BRICS and said that they would also get 100% tariff. But Spain's not part of BRICS. They will park that there. I mean, at this point in time, we kind of, I suppose, getting what we expected, which is lots of promises, lots of shouty stuff, and we will see as time comes. We also got the two meme coins, the Trump and the Melania meme coins. I did a really good interview with Christopher DeWitt from Luno on Tuesday morning on my Money Web Now show. Go listen to that as to how they get listed, what that process is, how they practically work. The reports that at one point they had a market cap of, I think someone said 36 billion for the Trump coin. Patently not true, because what they're doing is they've got 80% of the coins that will be released by one of the Trump LLCs over the next 3 years. There's 10% that were given to the public and 10% liquidity. When they say a 36 billion market cap, they're assuming on all 100% of the coins which aren't out there and haven't been sold yet. Still, it's a 3 billion market cap. That's not shabby at all for nothing. I mean, you can make an argument around Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, smart contracts, all of those sort of things. Meme coins are just that. They solve no purpose except to give somebody money and I suppose have status and, in an ideal world, make money. I think we're still going to see a rug pull at some time, surely. I mean, we have to a degree already. It's gone from 70 to 30 odd, or was it nearly 80? I'm not sure. But the meme coins just, they're weird. They're totally weird. I stay away. They're not crypto. And if you are a crypto at heart and you believe in the concept of crypto, meme coins are not it. They're kind of NFTs, but at least NFTs, you got a JPEG, although you could even debate the value around that. But you did. You got a JPEG, which you owned, although everyone could copy it. With the meme coin, you don't even get a JPEG. You don't really get anything at all. And a quick rabbit hole on TikTok and the whole ban, and there's deep confusion here. So TikTok is not banned in America. It was never going to be banned. They had to sell. They had until the 19th of January. If they didn't, they're not allowed to be distributed. In other words, Apple and Google can't have the app in the Play Store. They won't get updates, and at some point they will get deprecated. There is no need to shut TikTok down. That was TikTok just playing games. The idea that Trump says he will give it an extension, I don't see how he can. It went through with bipartisan support via both the House and the Senate. Biden signed it. The Supreme Court upheld it 9-0. There is a 90-day extension that can be given, but only if TikTok is in advanced negotiations to sell TikTok US. So TikTok's back. It's not anything anyone did. It's just actually part of the law at this point in time. Let's get to some TSMC, Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. This is a giant, and they had results out, and that's why I'm particularly touching on it. And the results were record-breaking. They did, for the first time ever, they clocked through 26 billion in terms of revenue for the quarter. Absolutely giant number. And I got to say, the results were great. And when you look at companies like Nvidia, they're expensive. And you ask yourself, where to next for Nvidia? And I'm not saying that things are going to fall over and go horribly wrong with Nvidia. It's just like, man, they are pricing in stuff. Whereas TikTok I got TikTok on the brain now. TSMC, on the flip side, is not an expensive stock. Its forward PE is under 19. Its mean PE is 24. So not expensive by any stretch of imagination. And when you think around AI, you think Nvidia, you might think ASML, you're certainly going to think OpenAI, Grok, and Microsoft, and Anthropic, and all of those. But there's the shovel makers. Nvidia's a shovel maker, but their shovels are now commanding crazy prices from shareholders. TSMC makes these. And that's the important point. They are obviously Taiwan. There are stresses around Taiwan and China, but they've also recently opened a plant in Austin, Texas, US. They're opening a plant in Germany as well. So they're taking manufacturing beyond just China. And as I say, not an expensive stock. If I recall correctly, if I go to analysts' expectations, I get, either there is a number missing somewhere. I mean, according to this, the high valuation is 55 and TSMC is at 211. That doesn't seem to make any sense. I think TSMC is looking good. I think the price isn't bad. I hold Nvidia. I hold ASML, so I've got a lot of fight in this game, but I'm having a good hard look at Taiwan Semiconductor Manufacturing as well. I think there is some good opportunity there. While we are here, let's quickly have a look at Grinrod. So Grinrod is having some challenges in Maputo, and let's deal with them first. They put an update out. Stock is not expensive by any stretch of imagination. It has come under a fair bit of pressure in recent times. It's down from almost 16 Rand down to 12.50. That's almost a quarter lower. But the Mozambique is what is concerning folks. Now, the president of Mozambique has been sworn in, and maybe things are going to revert back to normal. But there is a risk in Mozambique, and the risk is multifold. One is that there's just a continual low level of violence or a high level of violence, and that makes simply getting to that Mozambican port, the corridor, exceedingly difficult, which means they're going to have challenges with how much they can simply get through the port. The other is maybe the president, I don't know, shuts borders. Maybe he nationalizes. I mean, I know there's some crazy stuff happening here, but we've certainly seen this sort of thing before. On the flip side, the good news for them is that Transnet has asked for expressions of interest for private rail managers, and Grinrod is in that space. So certainly there's potentially something there for Grinrod. At this point, we'll wait and see. Transnet haven't said that will come through late February. Mozambique is, I think, a worry. I mean, it quite possibly is not, but I would still be concerned. But Sasol is the one that got everyone excited. After $80, what did it get to? A high of 102, high of 103.75. We're seeing it come under pressure. Couple of things. At some point, everything bounces. If you look at that chart, you can see lots of bounces from Sasol in recent times. Secondly, oil price above 80, Sasol like that. And then thirdly, a Bloomberg article on Friday, was it Thursday perhaps, talking about, Friday it was, that Sasol might spin off their chemical operations. Either a merger, perhaps a separate listing or something. That has, my sense, been on the table for a while. The CEO was quoted in the article as saying, sure, it's something we think about. Chemicals are, it's the wrong time because chemicals are absolutely under pressure. And if they spin off the chemicals, what's left? Well, not a heck of a lot. Their South African operations, their coal business is really, really struggling. Not a heck of a lot without that. The folks on the Twitters absolutely love it. Kudos to them. I suppose, well, it depends where you bought, I suppose. At this point, I'm not buying. As I said for a long time, I need a convincing reversal pattern. I would like to see it back to, I don't know, 90-ish, and then back up above that 104. That would convince me a little bit more. I'm curious as to seeing what analyst expectations are. We don't get a heck of a lot here because price targets. That's what I'm looking for. So highs now 210. We also, there was another thing. Was it JP Morgan who said it was a 225 Rand stock or something like that? We had SPG Security saying it was a 550 Rand stock. They've apparently downgraded that, but it's still in the region of 4 to 450. I mean, Sasol's at 98. The low expectations are 111. But basically, you can see the expectations have been coming down. Back in December 2022, we had a high expectation of 600. It's now 210. And admittedly, in that time, the expectations are down 2/3. The stock is down 75%. I'm not buying Sasol. I see the story there. I absolutely see the bounce. I am not adverse to the bounce. I'm just thinking to myself, thanks, but no thanks. Hey, the Sasfin Cristal Challenge is back. You've got until the end of the month. 5 stocks. I think they have to be more than 20 cents. They can't be ETFs. They have to be JSE listed. I think during the year you can exit one of them. Go to sasfin.co.za, poke around there. You'll find details for the Cristal Challenge. I'm in. What were my 5 stocks? Shoprite, Purple, ADvtTch, Calgro, and Richemont. I will go into more details as to why those 5 in time to come. But it's fun. And then you get invited to the year-end event, sort of, I don't know, what's it, mid-November at the Sasfin head office in Sandton, West Street, and that's lekker. That's most fun. So absolutely. We got 300 days of no load shedding, which is, anyway you shake that, an absolute giant. I mean, it was 26th of March last year. We would have all got, well, certainly in Joburg, actually, I suppose countrywide, an announcement just after 5 in the morning, if memory serves, saying, hey, load shedding is suspended. And to a person who saw it, make no mistake, he had the same thought I had, which was, yeah, for how long? You know, until breakfast, until lunch, until tomorrow? Well, so far, until 21 January. 300 days of no load shedding. It is, look, staggering. And kudos to Eskom. I mean, they're giving us power. They only have one job, and it is to give us power, but they are at least giving us some power. We'll get some GDP numbers out for the fourth quarter of the year. Those will come out still in a couple of months. We'll get a sense of what they are like. We should see a better period. Although I got to say, the clicks update, which came out earlier this morning, I thought that was a little bit light. We, of course, have got interest rates. We've got, I'm looking at my calendar, 29 Jan is the FOMC, 30 Jan is our own MPC. I think we'll get cuts at both, just 0.25%. I still think we can easily do 2 local cuts. The US, well, we'll wait and see. There's a lot happening there at this point in time. And I mean, so inflation in the US is sitting okay. What did it come in? 2.9. We've got our own inflation tomorrow, Wednesday, depending when you're listening to this. So certainly inflation is at the right end of the equation, I suppose. But unemployment remains massively strong in the US. I think there's lots for Jerome Powell and his team to consider thinking about and have, I don't want to say concerns, but maybe thoughts. First full show back, and clicking the buttons is proving harder. So we've got our first power hour coming up. It will be on the 20th of February. Budget day is 19 February. Power hour is 20 February. We're looking at tax-free. We're looking at ETFs and everything else around tax-free and ETFs. As always, you can attend the webcast. You can also attend live at the Standard Bank head offices in Baker Street, Rosebank. Booking is not up. It will be up in a couple of days. I'm off to Cape Town shortly, and I'm going to be there until the end of the month, but we'll get those bookings coming up, and then you can go and book and attend. That will be 20 February. JSE is a registered trademark of the JSE Limited. JSE Direct is an independent broadcast and is not endorsed or affiliated with, nor has it been authorized or otherwise approved by JSE Limited. The views expressed in this program are solely those of the presenter and do not necessarily reflect the views of JSE Limited. The disclaimer. So if you've listened all the way to the end, and we've come the show slightly short. So there are going to be some changes, as I said, at the top of the show. The first change is that, quite simply, we have moved. We used to record Wednesday, release Thursday. For reasons, it's just more convenient for me to record Tuesday and release Wednesday. It's neither here nor there. You listen to it when you want. It will still be released in all the various different ways. The other one, perhaps, well, the other two are biggie. We've got a sponsor from the 1st of February, and that's going to run through to the end of the year. And it's a biggie. I'll name names when we get there, but the first show in February will be with our new sponsor. But then the conversation came up. We've called this JSE Direct ever since we were on Classic FM. That was July 2008 when this show launched. So coming up on 17 years. And the JSE at some point jumped to me and said, hang on, you can't call it JSE Direct because that's their brand name. Hence that disclaimer. I suspect this is the only thing in the world that isn't the JSE that is allowed to use the name. And so one of the discussions with the sponsors were, should we change the name? I mean, I've got the legal letter from the JSE saying I'm entitled to use it, but it's also, we're no longer JSE. 15 years ago, it was all JSE. Now it's all sorts of other bits. It's markets, etc. So I used to have a section within the show called Simon Shares, and that's probably the name we're going to go with. There will be new branding. You won't see it next week. You'll see it February. Don't get spooked when you see the new branding. Everything's the same. Just new name and a sponsor. And sponsors are like it because pay some bills and funds some habits. So kudos to them. We'll announce who they are when we get there in February. But let's park it for today. We will be back next week. I don't know what sort of show. I'm going to be in Cape Town, but it's a working trip. So I'm holidaying and working. So there will definitely be a show. Keep the evening of 20 February open. ETFs and tax-free investing. Hopefully our finance minister the day before will give us an increase in our annual limits. My name is Simon. Until next week, we'll chat again then. As always, look after yourself. And if you can, look after somebody else as well. Cheers all.